Ports are an interesting thing. The word port sort of has a negative connotation to it, and I'm not quite sure why. One thing we've learned about the Nintendo Switch, though, is that we're getting a lot of ports on it. There's a lot of ports that have come out. There's a lot of ports that were just announced during the Nintendo Direct. And over on the RGT85 Facebook fan page, I said, hey, what sort of video do you guys want me to do? And one of the common things was they wanted me to talk about the port situation. I believe Derek left that comment saying, talk about all these Nintendo Switch ports. And it's an interesting subject because there's some people out there who are like ready to throw their Switch away. And it's interesting to me because I don't think all ports are created equal. There's different types of ports, and we need to look at the different types of ports to establish whether these are good ports or not. So in this video, we're gonna talk about ports for the Nintendo Switch. So sit back, relax, and let's get into all this port talk, and are there too many of them?
Hey, RGT85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my God, it's Stevie Richards! So like I said, in my opinion, there are two different types of ports when looking at the Nintendo Switch. You have to look at ports done by Nintendo from the Wii U and then third-party ports. So first we're gonna talk about the Nintendo ports from the Wii U. And to sort of preface that, we have to talk about the Wii U itself because the Wii U was a commercial failure. I owned a Wii U, you might have owned a Wii U, but a lot of people did not own a Wii U. Lest you remember, the Switch has already outsold the Wii U in just a year on the market, and the Wii U was available for about 4 years on the market. So a lot of these games that came out on the Wii U were just stuck on the Wii U. If you did not have a Wii U, you did not play these games. Now, when talking about ports from Nintendo, there are 4 main ports to talk about. You have to talk about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you have to talk about Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Now, I think we can all agree that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was a fantastic port. It included all of the DLC from the Wii U version of the game, and they added in a new battle mode, and that new battle mode was just fantastic. They fixed up the graphics a little bit and just made it the definitive version of the game. And let's remember that word, definitive edition, because we're going to talk about that later in the video. But I don't think anyone can argue that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was a great port. It was a port that the Nintendo Switch needed, and it was a great port when it came out. And when you look at 2017 for the Nintendo Switch, you can't say that there was a bunch of ports from Nintendo during that year. You had The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which did come out on the Wii U as well, but you had Super Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Mario and Rabbids. You had ARMS, a new IP. You had a lot of games coming out from Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. So they did not do a whole bunch of ports in 2017. You're starting to see them creep into 2018 though, with Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and the recently announced during the Nintendo Direct Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Now these 3 games are interesting to me because I think 2 are really good ports and 1 is sort of on the fence. Now, Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. If you did not play Hyrule Warriors, you missed out on a fantastic game. It combines Dynasty Warriors and The Legend of Zelda realms and worlds and creations and characters and blends them together beautifully. It's a fantastic game. This version will include all of the DLC from the game and some additional stuff as well. So at $60, I don't think this is a bad thing. It's a great game. It's a game that will last you hundreds and hundreds of hours, and I probably will triple dip on this game. I also own it on the 3DS. Looking at Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, this was a game that was pretty much stuck on the Wii U. I didn't expect to see this on any other platform, and now it's coming out on the Switch and the 3DS, and they're including Super Mario Odyssey themed levels, so that's super cool as well. There's going to be new content in that game as well, so I don't really mind it. And Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is probably the weakest of the 3. Now, it is a fantastic game, do not get me wrong, and I played it to death on the Wii U, but I also only paid $50 when it first came out on the Wii U, and now it's available for $20. And the fact that this is $60, only Funky Kong is a new addition to the game, it's a bit of a harder sale for me. It's the one port that I'm not completely enthused about. And you know what you might be saying to yourself, well, if you wanted to play all these Wii U games, just buy a Wii U. And that's an interesting subject in and of itself, because if you go on eBay or GameStop's website and look at the price of a Wii U system, it's still really expensive. And that's the thing about it, because of that gamepad, that system is always going to command a high dollar amount. Plus the fact that it just didn't sell that well. So the Wii U ports from Nintendo don't bother me that much. You're still getting Kirby, you're still getting Yoshi. I'm sure there will be more announcements at E3. I don't really foresee Nintendo announcing their whole lineup just at, you know, a Nintendo Direct. I'm sure you'll see more stuff at E3. They've already announced Smash Brothers is coming out in 2018 as well, which looks to be a new version of the game. So the Nintendo Wii U ports from Nintendo do not bother me. I totally get why they're doing it, and the thing of it is, you just don't have to pick them up. Now the third-party ports, that's an interesting subject as well. So let's look back at 2017 and look at, in what my opinion, were the 3 big ports that came to the Nintendo Switch from third-party developers. You had Doom, Skyrim, and Rocket League. Those 3, in my opinion, were the big ports. Now Doom is an interesting game because this did not release on last generation consoles. This was a PS4, Xbox One, and a PC exclusive, releasing in 2016. And can you really complain about the job that they did? I think they did a fantastic job. You couldn't play this game on the Wii U. It was a great and solid game. Skyrim has been around the block for a while, but when the Switch Skyrim version came out, you also had a remastered version for the PS4 and the Xbox One available as well. So it's not like this was just a quick flash in the pan. They already had put this on other platforms, on modern platforms as well. And Rocket League just has infinite value, in my opinion. That game should be on any system that can run it. A fantastic game, and they also included crossplay with PC and Xbox One gamers. So it's not like these were terrible ports. They were excellent complementary games to all of the awesome Nintendo games that we were getting in 2017. But with Nintendo releasing a lot of ports in 2018 thus far, that's where the third-party games really sort of get interesting to me. In my opinion, there are a couple really big ones that I think we should be talking about. South Park, The Stick of Truth, Crash Insane Trilogy, you have Ys 8, you have Okami HD. Now these 4 games are very interesting to me, and I think they are some of the better ports that we're going to see on the Nintendo Switch. So let's take a game like South Park, for instance. This released on the PS4, the Xbox One, but it did not see a release on a Nintendo platform. This is the first time that this game is coming to a Nintendo platform. So I'm totally on board with this. This game isn't all that old. It's not like this is, you know, a 2-3-year-old game. It's still pretty recent. It released last year. So I think Switch fans are gonna like this game. When you look at a game like Okami HD, that should have been available on the Switch the same day as the other versions of the game that came out on the PS4 and the Xbox One. Ys 8 is a welcome addition, in my opinion. It's a game that I think RPG fans will really enjoy and really have a good time with. And of course we have the Crash Insane Trilogy, which was a timed exclusive on the PS4 and will also be coming to the Xbox One and PC as well. So looking at these games, they're all sort of unique in their own way. A game like South Park, I don't think a lot of people expected that to be on the Nintendo Switch. Okami was on the Wii, and it's nice to see Okami HD coming to the Switch as well. Ys 8 is an epic action RPG adventure that was a PS4 game. So it's not like a Nintendo Switch owner has played this game unless they played it on the PS4. You see sort of what I'm getting at here? A lot of these ports are for newer Switch owners. I don't think a lot of Switch owners played a lot of these games, especially if you owned a Wii U. None of these games were available on the Wii U. To see Crash Bandicoot return to a Nintendo platform alongside of other platforms is just an amazing thing, in my opinion. It's super, super cool. And maybe the big problem is when it comes to all these ports, you're also having Nintendo port over games as well. And the first half of the year is a bit soft for the Nintendo Switch. You have to assume you're going to get Kirby, of course, coming out at the end of the month. Yoshi may release as well, but Nintendo really hasn't announced a big new game for the Nintendo Switch from them that's a Switch exclusive that hasn't been on another platform. So that's kind of where the waters get murky, in my opinion. When you look at the first year of the PS4 and the Xbox One, there were tons of ports on those systems, definitive editions, remasters, ultimate editions. It's just what gaming has really become. Third-party companies are a lot more tentative with putting out their games on newer platforms because they want to make as much money as possible. So by porting over their older games, it really gives these games a second breath of life. It gives gives these games another chance to shine on a platform where they did not have a chance to begin with. I think in the second half of the year, you're gonna have same day ports, and that's what a lot of people want. They want the game to come out at the same time for the Switch as it does on other platforms, and I totally agree with you. But unfortunately, things like that take time. I'm not trying to justify all of these ports. I'm just trying to explain why you're seeing all these ports and why it's not necessarily a bad thing. I would have loved to have seen, a third-party exclusive game. I would have loved to have seen a brand new Nintendo Switch game from Nintendo that was supposedly releasing in the first half of the year. You are sort of getting that with Kirby and Yoshi. It's just whether you like those games or not. And that's sort of what it boils down to, is honestly personal preference. Some people hated the Nintendo Direct, and I understand why. Maybe they've played these other games. Some people like the Nintendo Direct, such as myself. I wasn't goo goo gaga over it, but I am looking forward to playing these games that I did not play on other platforms. So what it really boils down to is the reason Nintendo is doing it is because the Wii U was not successful. They want these games to have a second chance to shine. They want these games to get mainstream attention. They want these games to have a second breath of life. And it's a good way to pad their first half of the year by re-releasing these Wii U games on the Nintendo Switch. Third-party companies are doing it because you have to port over games to make some money on these things nowadays. So that's really what it all boils down to, is pretty much financials. So if you're against all these ports, I understand, but I don't think you should be so closed-minded on it. A lot of these ports are going to be pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to playing them. So thank you to Derek for sending in this question to the channel. Let me know what you think about all these ports in the comments section down below. Thank you for checking out this video. Make sure you check out the description box for all the social media links, Patreon, t-shirts, all sorts of fun stuff, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.